Last summer I found a great deal in corned beef. So great I had to buy it all, and I decided to can the meat and also can some hash. I am so into canning convenience foods and meals these days. With canned corned beef you can make a lot of different recipes. You can mix the meat with many different vegetables like potatoes, cabbage, green beans, carrots, turnips, parsnips, and the list goes on. It also goes together well with many different grains and pasta. The corned beef is great in soups, casseroles, scrambles, and stir-fries. Home canned corned beef is much better than your store-bought corned beef. Actually, there's no comparison. Both the texture and taste are totally different. Stay tuned to the end of this video, and I will show you a peek to one of the recipes I make with my homemade canned corned beef. This is about 15 pounds of corned beef that I rinsed well and tossed the seasoning packet. They all have quite a thick fat cap. I want to keep some of the fat because that is flavor, but I don't want to can all that fat. So I'm cutting off the fat, just leaving a nice thin layer. There's also a good bit of marbling throughout the meat. I peeled some russet potatoes, and I cubed them into about 1/4-inch pieces for the hash. I washed my jars, lids, and rings. This is a raw pack, so everything will be room temperature. I'm using pint jars, and they typically hold about 1 pound of meat. I like to snugly pack the meat in the jar as much as possible, but I'm also leaving some pockets in there so they process properly. A pint of corned beef goes a long way in any recipe. This corned beef will taste just like it's right out of the oven. It has a rich flavor and mixes well with other foods. You can easily feed 2 to 4 people with this pint of meat. For the hash, I'm simply putting a layer of potatoes on the bottom, then about 6 to 7 nice pieces of corned beef, and topped with more potatoes. The canned corned beef hash will feed about 1 to 2 people, and it's really convenient to have on the shelf. I'm wiping all the jar rims with some white vinegar, and I'm placing on the lids and the rings finger tight. This 15 pounds of corned beef yielded 10 pints of corned beef and 6 pints of corned beef hash. Today I'm using my All-American pressure canner. For pints of raw packed corned beef and corned beef hash, it takes a pressure time of 75 minutes. At my altitude, it takes 10 pounds of pressure, and you will need to check your location for the suggested amount of pressure. Placing on my canner lid and locking in place, turning my heat on high, venting for a full 10 minutes, placing on my 10-pound weight gauge, bringing up to 10 pounds of pressure, adjusting the heat to the lowest setting while maintaining my 10 pounds of pressure, and then set the timer for the process of 75 minutes. After 75 minutes, turn off the heat and let it rest until the pressure comes completely down to 0, and this is going to take about 45 minutes. Don't rush this process. After the gauge registers 0, remove the weighted gauge and let it set 10 more minutes before removing the lid. And it's time to see the canned corned beef. Everything is still hot and bubbly. Placing the jars on my countertop on top of a towel in a draft-free area. These jars will be resting 12 to 24 hours. After 12 hours, I'll remove the rings and make sure everything is sealed. I let them rest for the full 24 hours and then give them a gentle wash, label, and place on the shelf. With St. Patrick's Day around the corner, now is the time to think about canning some of that leftover or extra corned beef. You will find that a lot of grocery stores will run discounts on corned beef after the holiday, and that's the time to pick up bargains. It is so nice to have canned meat in the pantry for convenience and in case of emergencies. Canning meat is a great saver on money and time. I hope this canning video inspires you to break out that pressure canner and give it a try. Remember to always check the USDA guidelines to follow safe home canning procedures. I will leave a link below for the site. And I'll see you at the next canning session. Enjoy! If you like this video recipe, please hit the like and subscribe button. Remember to hit the bell next to the subscribe to make sure that you get my future video recipes. You can also find me on Facebook and at my website. Feel free to share this recipe and my channel with your friends and family. And until next time, much love!